Greetings, sports fans, and welcome to another edition of Red Sox Digest. I am your host tonight, Jim Delfino. Now, listen, Boston playing at Steinbrenner Field feels like breaking into your enemy's house and raiding the fridge. It's not about winning, it's vandalism with a box score. Nothing makes me happier than the Sox hanging two straight on Tampa in the Yankees' spring training dollhouse. I mean, how embarrassing for Tampa. You don't even get your own stadium identity. You're squatting at George's mausoleum like an Airbnb nobody wanted. Joining me tonight is Nick Face. Nick's basically the human embodiment of Fenway Park in September. Loud, sweaty, and angry at everything. He's the only guy I know who can turn a casual Sox win into a full-scale Twitter war with a stranger who has 3 followers and a cat avatar. If you told him the Sox clinch tomorrow, he'd yell, "Yeah, but the bullpen sucks." He's like a Yelp review that never ends. Also joining us tonight is Nick Diamond, but we weren't sure we would. Why? Because he took in the series live and then had to fight through 6 drunk Rays fans for the right to use the same exit. Nick flew from Fort Lauderdale to Tampa, which, let's be honest, is like driving to your neighbor's mailbox just to get stuck in a mosh pit of sunburned fans who still think Evan Longoria is on the roster. Let's get into it. Your Boston Red Sox are now 85 and 71 after losing to the Rays 7-3 tonight, and this one had classic Sox collapse written all over it. It actually started like a crime scene in the first. Bregman airmailed the throw that let Caminero score, and then Morel doubled in 2 more. Just like that, with 3-0 Rays, and Boston was already behind the 8 ball. The Sox chipped away a little in the fourth when Rafaela doubled home a run, but Gonzalez got gunned down at the plate to kill the rally. Naturally, Tampa answered in the sixth with a Brandon Lowe homer to push it to 4-1, but the Sox showed a pulse in the seventh. Duran, Story, Bregman, and Gonzalez all came through with hits, plating 2 runs and trimming the deficit to 4-3. For about 5 minutes, it felt like a comeback was brewing. Then came the bottom of the eighth, a full-blown bullpen meltdown. Peyton Tolley handed out hits like Costco samples. Caminero and Diaz singled, Lowe walked, Morel singled in 2, and Fortes tacked on another. By the time the dust settled, Tampa was up 7-3, and Sox fans watching at home were already eyeing the liquor cabinet. And now it's time for Nick Face's Word of the Day.
And now it's time for Nick Face's Word of the Day.
Today's word of the day is brought to you by the Red Sox. Their offense, as a matter of fact. And no, the word is not offense. It's stranded. The amount of stranded base runners, yet again, this team had for tonight. We left 10 players on base, left on base. We were 4 for 11 with anybody on base. We were also in the K category 14 times tonight. Nathaniel Lowe was the biggest one to me that stood out for just having terrible at-bats. I know he doubled, but the 3 strikeouts were absolutely catastrophic to this entire night. The amount of times this team loads the bases or has runners in scoring position with 1 out or less and they can't manufacture runs will be the fall of this team. I cannot see this team even going 3-3 this next week here of the last season for the Sox against both Toronto and Detroit. I just can't see it. This was just yet another game where they let wash right away, where you absolutely could have won this game. I hated the managerial decisions going into this. I hated their philosophy yet again going into tonight's game. This was a punt lineup, a punt game that Alex Cora didn't give a crap about. And the players, well, they showed up with a vengeance with not doing much. I give kudos to Bregman. It was a great game for him. The bat's finally starting to show a little bit of life, which is great to see. I really liked the Romy Gonzalez at bat as well. And that really got me into thinking in that 7th inning, can they actually do it? Can they figure out a way to come back? It was 4-3 at the time. And then just fell off a cliff yet again. We give more high leverage situations to Zach Kelly because that's again one of Alex Cora's best friends. He's got to throw a bone out to him every time he can to let him go, and that's where it just got blown open. We had a little bit of hope, and then the hope just ran right away after the 8th inning came, and that's where we're at. Now we're into the last week here of the season, trying to figure out if they can even limp their way into a wild card game. And I know we'll talk about it a little bit more, but stranded was our word for the night. They did a masterful job of it, as they've done all season long.
Yeah, absolutely. Nick Face's word of the day is brought to you by Surefine Orange Juice, because the Rays can't afford Tropicana or real players. And now it's time for a brand new segment called Diamond Notes.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time for Diamond Notes with your host, Nick Diamond.
Nick, what'd you see tonight?
Well, Nick Face brought up 10 left on base, and if you go into the stats, Nathaniel Lowe left 8 just by himself. So it's a big reason why we lost today. We brought up a double. I really don't care when you leave 8 guys on base. He had the opportunity to hit a few sac flies. He came up with the bases loaded multiple times. He also came up with with a runner on first and third, and it didn't come through. So he's a big reason why we lost. I'll go another one, Conley early. He went 4 innings. He had a tough first, but after that, he kind of bounced back. He had 13 swings and misses tonight. I think he had 19 and 16 in his first 2 career starts, something like that. So he's still in the double-digit swings and misses in a 4-inning start. That's pretty impressive for a guy that's only in his 3rd major league start. He's going to have his ups and downs. His control was a little shaky, especially in the 1st inning. Bregman's throw didn't help him. So it wasn't an awful start. It wasn't a great start by him, but he's showing some signs that there's something there, and I think he's a major league starter going forward.
Yeah, I was happy that he was able to kind of turn things around. And, after that 1st inning, I think he was too worried about, Simpson or whatever. And, it just kind of ate at him. But, it's just really tough when you're days away from the end of the season and you're vying for a playoff spot that, you have to rely on these guys to give you innings and starts because, it's the pressure is just killing them. Thayer, I know you're having some internet trouble. Hopefully you can hear us. What's your reactions to this weekend series and tonight's game?
I can hear you good now, so sorry about the problems. The weekend series, I got to say, was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. I got to watch yesterday. I was down in South Jersey in the heart of Philly country, and I actually got to hang out with some Red Sox fans down there. And when I shout out Joe and Chris, I had a lot of fun talking Red Sox. Watched the game, saw what happened. I'm like, maybe there's a chance. And then we have Sunday, and the Red Sox decide to give gift after gift after gift. Whether it's starting off with early walking people, and then we have the Bregman error, and then we have the stupid decision to send the runner. The other day, I was all about being aggressive. The problem is when you're aggressive at a 0-0 game, that's when it's the time. When it's 3-0 already, that's not the time to be aggressive. We got the runner thrown out at the plate. Then we have another base running gaff with Duran getting, thinking about the ball in the dirt and not making his decision. Then we have the error with Bregman on third base. Granted, it's Bregman, but the coach, what is he doing? He wasn't focusing him at all. Bregman turned the wrong way. He couldn't even see the ball going to the dugout. That killed us. And then the thing that has frustrated me the most, and I've been pro Cora most of this year, I do not understand how he came back with Kelly. He had to go with Whitlock there. Whitlock needed to pitch that 8th inning. This is a game that you need to win. You have to play it like you're winning, and he needed to come in that 8th inning and give us a shot in the 9th, and they just threw it all away. It's just disgusting how this team, no matter how many steps forward they take, they always just make this massive fall backwards at the most inopportune times.
Yeah, absolutely. Willie Abreu's returned to the major leagues. He went 0 for 4, I believe, with 4 strikeouts. Nick Face, 30 seconds. Tell me a little bit more about what you saw from Willier today and what you think we might get or not get moving forward.
I am so shocked he struck out 4 times tonight, guys. I am stunned. I couldn't believe it. Well, I think we all could have expected this to happen. The guy hasn't played in, a month and a half? The problem here is you don't have time to be in Worcester. You just don't. And they just threw him in. Oh, yeah, Willier, you're coming off the plane. You're going to be our DH tonight. You're going to play. This is one of those things that I've talked about with Willier, where it's boom or bust for him majority of the time. No matter what adjustments made, no matter what happens, it's strikeout or home run with this guy. It's just what we've seen consistently here. I'm not surprised that it was like this. I would have rather had Ref Snyder in the lineup or Nate Eaton instead of that. And maybe that could have been your difference maker here tonight. Contact. Make something happen. And this team had 14 of those strikeouts tonight, compliments of not manufacturing runs, not doing anything, just lazy, sorry excuse swings and misses that do not benefit the game whatsoever. So I'd rather have somebody else play than Willier Abreu. Truthfully, I'd rather a season be done right now. That's how I feel.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, at this point with, 7 games at that time remaining on the schedule, this is not really the time to try to get Willier Abreu correct and right. And to your point, first of all, you're getting a defensive liability by putting Yoshida in right field and just trying to tell everybody, well, it's like Little League, so he could play that spot. And you know what? It didn't come back to bite him. But what if it did? What if it was a game altering play that he wound up gaffing? Luckily that didn't happen. It didn't matter. But still, again, when you're fighting for a playoff spot like this, it's really hard to digest something like that. And if Cora's going to make these kind of adjustments just for Willier Abreu, I agree with you, Nick. I would have put Nate Eaton in there. I would have had Nick Sogard in that lineup at some point. Nick Diamond, your reactions to the Abreu lineup change?
Like you guys said, I think he looked like a guy that hasn't swung a bat in a month and a half, and that's what it's going to be. There's no time for him to go down to Worcester. Worcester's over at this point. Minor league baseball is done. One other thing, why is he at DH? Like you said, you brought up the Yoshida thing, but if he's not healthy enough to play the field, why is he here at all? I don't get it. If he's not going to hit, the only thing he's good at is playing the right field, which he's a pretty good right fielder. He brings value out there in right field. So why is he not out there? It's not worth it having him on this roster. Like you said, Nate Eaton's actually swinging it well right now. But I really do want to bring up the Kyle Hudson thing. I think we kind of overlooked that when Thayer brought that up. I think it's a big thing to look at today. It's a real reason why we lost this game.
Thayer, your reactions on Abreu?
Pretty much like what's already been said. He's trying. Got to give him credit. He showed up. He put himself in the lineup. They went with it. He's overmatched, and he's not going to change his swing for it. He's only in there really just to hope he runs into one. That if they make a mistake to him, he's going to hit it. And right now, there's not really a time. This is not the time for it. So I think thanks for coming. You gave the effort. Sort of like I said on the last podcast, we'll see him, but he'll give you just what he gave today. So I think that's all she wrote for him.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's time for our episode of Dugout Dipshits.
And now it's time for everyone's favorite segment, the Dugout Dipshits.
And Dugout Dipshits is brought to you by Amtrak, because just like the Red Sox bullpen, we're never on time, we cost too much, and there's always some sort of derailment. Today's Dugout Dipshit is our third base coach, Kyle Hudson. Nick Face, take me through Kyle Hudson tonight.
I would have rather a robot at third base, Jim. That was fireable, completely fireable. He should not be coaching third base or coaching period on this team whatsoever. We've had our fair share of third base coach issues over the years. The late, great Wendell Kim I remember going to Fenway with him sprinting down, and I couldn't believe it when I got his autograph back when I was a kid. I thought it was the best thing in the world. But wave him in, Wendell. Wave him in. What is Kyle Hudson doing, though? I mean, the biggest thing we have to talk about here on this, I know there's the send plays and everything there, but he interfered with one of our players, and the umpire was so lucky. I think it was Jim Wolf, didn't see it. That's obstruction. You can't do that, guy. How is that even remotely going through his head that he can do that? It was the most stunning, pathetic excuse of doing a job as a third base coach that I've seen in a long time. Bring me back Carlos Fabulous, please. Bring me him back. If this is what we got right now, I mean, what, 3 runs? 3 runs at least? Maybe 2? That you cost your team here tonight. And he'll be right back out there Tuesday night in Toronto for the Blue Jays series. Because Cora, that's my boy. That's my guy. He's fine. Just going to brush it away. He's good. That's what we'll hear. Everything will be all okay. But not okay in my book tonight with that. Sayonara. Goodbye.
Nick Diamond, your reactions. I think Kyle Hudson has cost us more than just this game alone. It's been a train wreck with him at third base all season.
That's exactly what I was going to say. It's not just tonight. This has been a trend, and it's been getting worse as the season's gone along. I feel like a lot of players have praised him in the past for other things, but this season I haven't heard it very much, and it's been really bad an on-field performance for him. And like you said, Coro can trot him out there every night. A baseball player can go out there and there can be a replacement. There's no replacement for third base coaches in season ever. You never see something like that. But it needs to be done when it's this bad. It's been really, really, really bad. If you look at the send tonight, look at where the runner was at the moment when the guy had the ball, he was releasing it. There was no chance he was scoring under, even if he threw the ball to the backstop. Like it could have bounced back and he would have been out still. Like he was out by a mile. It was a bad send, and you can't defend it at all. No matter what he says, he should just say, bad send. I should not have done it. Like any other answer besides that, it's a pretty stupid answer.
Yeah, it's, we haven't had a bad run like this in quite some time. I think Nick's right. Wendell Kim was pretty bad. We've had some good ones, but I mean, I don't even know how they didn't get that obstruction call. I mean, it was brought up on the broadcast later on, but I mean, they're lucky that they didn't get that call. I mean, it didn't really mean much at that point, but I mean, I don't know what you do. I mean, he's got to be one of the first guys fired in this offseason. I just can't see that the Red Sox continue to use him in that capacity any further. Nick Face, please go ahead.
It's an interesting comment that you think he's the first one. I'm still Pete Fatsy, guys. I think that has much more legs to it than it does with Hudson. I'm not saying that Hudson is safe by any means. No pun intended with a third base coach with being safe. They both need to be gone. And quite frankly, I want a complete change of coaching staff. I do.
They need a complete
I'm questioning Andrew Bailey. I'm not going to lie on that. It's been up and down. It's been a little bit better, obviously, this year with your Crochets and Whitlock getting back on track and all that, plus Bayo and Giolito. So I might give him a pass on that. But Kyle Hudson, see you later. Pete Fatsy, I'm done. The approaches are awful. We've been there, done that. The same old song and dance has been going on for too long. Goodbye. Get out of my life. Get lost.
Yeah. I don't know if he's just not reading plays like in the corner very well. That was what I deduced tonight from that first out at home. But I'm telling you, it's really getting to the point where he is so untrustworthy. I don't know where you go from here. So, and you know what? I've never been a Bailey fan. I think you guys know that. Everybody kept saying that, he can fix everybody, and, people praise him like it's unbelievable. And my answer to you with that is, where's Walker Buehler right now? Where's Quinn Priester right now? I mean, if he could fix guys, they should be here. Where's Jordan Hicks right now? I mean, what does Bailey actually do here that any other pitching coach hasn't been able to do in the past? I don't see anything spectacular about him. I don't see anything that he's done to take anybody to a different level. The only thing that you can really hang your head on was the beginning of last season. He had a pretty good run there for the first, I guess, maybe up to June, with, Cutter Crawford and Tanner Houck and Bayo. But other than that, I mean, he's been a train wreck as far as I'm concerned. He hasn't been able to really dig in and try to fix really any of these people. If anything, Connor Wong has helped the pitching staff better than Bailey has. So, that's just my take on that. Time for the wild card watch.
And now it's time for the Wild Card Watch.
So Wild Card Watch is powered by your friendly IKEA furniture instructions, because trying to make any sense of this race feels like assembling a playoff berth with 3 missing screws, no Allen wrench, and that creepy little stick figure guy smiling at you like he's the one that's going to October. Nick Diamond, I'll start with you. 6 games left. Where are we? Break it down for us.
Well, in the standings are what my predictions are. In the standings, it's kind of scary at the moment. If we look at the wild card standings, the Red Sox still sit kind of technically in the 2 wild card spot at 85 and 71. Cleveland now owns a wild card spot in that 3 spot at 84 and 72. The Red Sox are only 1 game up on them. And then the Houston Astros are 84 and 72 as well. So the Red Sox are only 1 game up on them. So that's who you're fighting with now. It's the Astros. I don't like to go with 6-7 games left in the season. I don't want to fight with the Astros down to the wire. That's not a team I want to go head to head with. I know the Astros have that postseason pedigree. They've been to the postseason. Their players, Carlos Correa, those kind of guys, know how to win down the stretch. So I'm scared about that they're going to go on a run here, go 5-1, and we're going to miss out. I think the Red Sox have to go 4-2.
Well, the other
4-2, it's over.
The other concern, we talked about this last night, Thayer had brought it up. When you really look at those standings too, I mean, you have the same record as the Tigers. So if Cleveland overthrows and gets into first place, and they couldn't do it today because they lost, otherwise they'd be tied with the Tigers, this 3-game series with the Tigers could be your defining moment as the Red Sox to whether you're going to get in or not. Nick Face.
We talked about it was it last night? No, it was the night prior.
Mm-hmm.
We weren't on last night, right? We were on Friday night.
We
talked about in my opinion, I think the Guardians are going to overtake the Tigers. I really do. I know they lost today, but we still have a week here to go. I think that it's going to come down a lot to that last weekend series, the Red Sox versus Tigers. I think we're going to be lucky to get 1 win out of this Blue Jays series. To be quite frank with you, I think it's going to be 1 win. What that win's going to be, I don't know, and where it's going to come from, I don't know. Would I be surprised if they get swept? Nope, wouldn't be surprised about that. But I will tell you, I will be stunned beyond words if they take 2 of 3 or sweep the Blue Jays. You've heard it here first on this. It's going to come down to which team doesn't stink the most come Friday, Saturday, Sunday between the Red Sox and the Tigers. The Tigers are on a tailspin right now, and the Red Sox are what they are. They're a 500 team. Some nights they get lucky, and other nights, like you see tonight, they're an utter disgrace and disaster, and they can't get out of their own effing way. So, Nick, I have to agree with you here. The Astros are much more scarier right now with this whole last week of the season going. And to be honest with you, too, if you wanted to compare the Astros versus Red Sox, I still take the Astros in the edge because of at least players that have been there, done that, and can get and have been in the postseason and know how to play. We don't have anything. We don't have anything. So I'm still going to be a man of my word. I'm going to say the Red Sox are going to lose out here, and it's not going to be pretty whatsoever. We have not seen the worst yet, guys.
Yeah, these last 6 games are going to be like basically, giving blood at a blood bank. It'd probably be less painful. I'm going to throw some more cogs in the wheel for you guys. We've only had one series against Detroit, and we lost all three. And so the important thing to understand, and all our listeners as well, if you are down one game to Detroit in the standings, assuming that the Guardians take a lead in that division, and now you're fighting Detroit for a possible wild card spot, you would have to sweep Detroit. And if you're down one game and you sweep Detroit, you still lose because then. So it's a very tough position. And then you would go if you sweep them and it's a tie at the end of the season, then you have to go to that interdivision play, which, of course, now we don't know where all those numbers are. But just to throw a little cog in the wheel, Nick Diamond, your reactions to that?
I hope the Tigers win the division is all I can say. That's what I've wanted the whole time because I don't want it to come down to those last three games at all. I really just assumed the Tigers would have won that division. This Cleveland Guardians run has been insane. I didn't think they were that good of a team, to be honest. They were one team that I wasn't scared of. I was more scared of the Royals coming out of that division, going back at like the All-Star break and the trade deadline. I think the Royals were a scarier team in my opinion. So this is wild. If the Red Sox don't go 4-2, and I can see a way that even if they do go 4-2 and miss out, like I can see something crazy like that happening. If the Astros go 5-1 or something like that, or they go 6-0 and the Tigers go 5-1, I think that's impossible because the Tigers couldn't go 5-1 and the Red Sox go 4-2. So I don't know, but I can see a way them missing out no matter what. I don't think the playoff chances are. I think they're about 50% at this moment. I think it could be 50-50.
Nick Face, similar question to you, but wouldn't it be Red Soxian for the Red Sox to be in a situation where they need to sweep Detroit, and then even with that sweep, they lose out for some other interdivisional play?
It'd sum up the whole season perfectly, guys. And again, I come back to my whole point and emphasis when July hit, when we swept the Rays, we took 3 from the Nationals in that series and also against the Rockies. Right now, we're looking at that. If you didn't take care of business here, you're not even in a situation where you're talking about playoffs right now. You beat up on crap teams right there. And then you've been mediocre since the All-Star break. I'm not 100% sure what the overall record is from the All-Star break, but I think it's, again, right around that 500 mark, and it's just not been good enough. It's amazing to me just how much of an impact Roman Anthony made, just how much he made when he came up, and what it's meant to this team losing him. They've lost their leader. They've lost their fight. They've lost all the ammunition in the world to even do anything. It's the lineup's just been a joke. There's just nothing that you can count on consistently to get stuff done. That doesn't take away from what Trevor Story and everything has done. I give kudos to that, but that's all you're going to hear from that because I know tomorrow he'll go 0 for 4 with 4 Ks. So we're not going to talk about him anymore. It's just a matter of the fact that what you see right now is just, it's not good enough. You've got too many holes in your lineup. You have too many guys leaving runners on base. Pitching's been, I think the word that you can also use for pitching, it's been adequate. Not great, not terrible. It's been right around, that 500 mark, and it's been right around that mark where we've seen this team be since 2019. We're a 500 team. And that's why if we do miss out here in this playoffs, I have to look for a positive in that, because the positive towards this is that means you have to make changes. And those changes we scream about pretty much every night when we're on this show, talking about the coaching staff, talking about the mental mistakes, talking about players not having a plan or an attack identity of what they're going up to the plate with. Maybe we have to be hopeful that change finally happens. I can't go into 2026, guys, with this team and this roster and this coaching staff looking the same. I can't. And if they continue to do the same thing, we will have Groundhog Day yet again for 2026, excuse me. That will be the biggest middle finger to the entire fan base of the Red Sox who have supported this team for decades upon decades to continue to do the same crap over and over again. We'll see.
I think what bothers me more so than anything is the fact that, you talked about Roman Anthony and how much of an impact he's had. I wonder if it's just that alone or just the disappointment of the rest of the players thinking that it's over and there's got to be more to it. I mean, you have to remember while he was a force for the better part of maybe 40 games, the first 10 games, he wasn't contributing at all. He was batting a buck something. So he really wasn't that impact guy right off the bat, and the power wasn't there initially either. So, that along with the fact that if the Reds, and just hear me out on this because it's not going to happen, but if the Red Sox were to sweep these last 6 games, they'll have 91 wins. And it amazes me that with adding Crochet and Bregman and Walker Buehler and Aroldis Chapman and everything that they did this offseason, the best they could do is 10 games better than last year. And it just seems like it should be more than that, especially with the way Crochet was pitching all year and Giolito kind of finding himself. To me, it's actually a little bit of a disappointment. Nick Diamond, your closing thoughts for tonight.
So the Red Sox were 44-27 with Roman Anthony in the lineup. That is a division-winning World Series pace, in my opinion, over 162-game season. Without Roman Anthony in the lineup, the Red Sox are 3 games under 500. And that was before Roman Anthony in the lineup, and that's after Roman Anthony got hurt. Amazing. That means the Red Sox were just not a good team without him. And they're back to being just not a good team without him. I guess that's the biggest thing. They needed a superstar in the lineup. Rafael Devers was a superstar, but I think Roman Anthony has the potential to be better than him. They should have had both these guys in the lineup going into this September, this playoff run, playoff chances. If they had both those guys in the lineup, this lineup would look way different. You would have teams pitching you way differently. You wouldn't have to have Masataka Yoshida's in the 4-hole. It sucks what this roster has had to go on to deal with. It sucks they ran Rafael Devers out of town for no reason. He should be playing on this team right now.
Yeah, there's no question they could certainly use him now. Nick Face, your final thoughts for tonight.
I was just reading a tweet, just kind of going over the dynamics of the Astros and Cleveland. They would have to go, like we talked about, 5-1, and then for the Red Sox to do. I'm just going to read it so that way I don't get anybody confused. We are fortunate. This is from Tyler Milliken. Fortunate to have the tiebreaker over both the Astros and Guardians, so you essentially have a 2-game lead right now. But this is what it comes down to. It looks like 5-1, ideally, is what the Astros or Cleveland would have to go, and that's bearing whatever the Red Sox do. Say the Red Sox go 2-4 over this next stretch. They would have to go 4-2 to have any sort of chance to make a playoff run. So much like what Nick was saying with this whole it's 50-50, I think maybe we're being a little bit nice saying it's 50-50. I know odds and stats say it's a little bit higher and everything right now, but I think we're at the lowest point, realistically, where this future of this 2025 season is going. And I've said before, I thought from the beginning it was going to be a collapse like 2011. I did, but I wasn't happy about it. And kind of reflecting on it right now makes me really disappointed, and it makes me really frustrated that we yet again feel like we had it. We were going to get to the promised land, and here we are going into the last 6 games here in the season. I don't feel good about it, guys. You can probably see the emotion from me. I don't feel good. I don't feel good about it. I don't like it. It's not right. You have collapsed yet again.
Yeah, I think, this can be more convoluted than we think. Cleveland, let's see, they swept a series against Detroit in May. They lost and got swept in July. So that's 3-3. Let's see. This past series,
I think the Tigers have it over
no, it's 6-3 right now, but they have 3 more against Cleveland. So if the if if the Red Sox sweep Toronto and Cleveland sweeps Detroit, then they have a tiebreaker on with Detroit. Cleveland does, so it goes to their interdivision, and then we would have to. Oh my God! You know what? It can get really hairy here.
We're going to need a lot of this week.
My
If
God!
the Red Sox sweep the the Blue Jays, that would put the Yankees in the division, wouldn't it?
Yes, because they're that close right now to the. That is correct. Yes.
Right.
So then the Blue Jays would have that wild card spot. Yeah,
the
it could be
one
anything,
seed.
and then the tiebreakers would change again.
If Cleveland sweeps or even takes 2 out of 3 from Detroit, but let's just assume they sweep, Cleveland would win the division. The Red Sox, if they got swept in Toronto, would have the identical record with the Tigers, and it would be a 1-for-1 on that. And the Red Sox would have to take 2 out of 3 against Detroit to make the playoffs.
Correct. That
would
is
be a playoff
absolutely correct.
series. They'd have to play back-to-back playoff series.
That would be an unbelievable finish to this season. So,
is there a chance that it could be that the Red Sox and the Tigers get in? No, it's only one or the other, unless the Tigers win the division.
I think
because the Yankees, Yankees.
I
Blue
didn't
Jays
realize
would
the
be
Tigers
automatic.
and Cleveland had to play again.
Yep, they're playing
That
this
changes
week.
Everything.
Yep,
They're Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, right?
Yep, and then they face
Much
us.
like with us with the Blue Jays. So that's
this
that's
is
where our
gonna be
eyes
the
will be on.
craziest last 6 days ever.
Yeah, so if Cleveland again, folks, if Cleveland sweeps the Tigers, Cleveland is obviously in, and if Boston gets swept up in Toronto, which is not something that couldn't happen, knowing the way the Red Sox play up there, then we would have a tie with Detroit going into that final weekend series, and you would have to win all 3 games against Detroit. Because if you only take 2 out of 3, now if you take 2 out of 3, you'd have a better record. But the reality is that the Detroit took all 3 so far early in the year. So technically, they have
the tiebreaker or the head-to-head. Yeah,
tiebreaker, right? Yeah. So a lot of that's going to depend. This could come down to the last day, whether you're making the playoffs or not. It really could. There's really a lot of ways that could happen. It's dangerous. So
those 19 one-run losses that we have this season, brutal.
And also, too, last but not least, a lot of the losses against last place teams. Don't forget, you went 4-3 against the White Sox. You lost one game to Colorado, I think it was, and so forth. So there's been quite a number of games that you're going to come back and look at these and say that should have never happened, and that's where the finger pointing is going to be. Just real quickly on some of the chats, Thayer came in because he had some issues. Guardians are definitely going to catch the Tigers. We're going to need to beat the Tigers, and one of us is out. He also did say that we were in a load of trouble. I don't see us going 3-3. I don't as well. And then he also said the Tigers, Red Sox, and Guardians, Astro are all playing for 3 spots, which, yes, absolutely. Glenn had a couple comments as well. just running out a little bit of time, so we'll catch those next time. But thank you very much, Glenn. So if you don't have a subscription to our newsletter, please go to redsoxdigest.com and go ahead and fill out and get our daily updates. Have a great night, everybody, and we will see you Tuesday night after the Toronto game.